Hey, this is Naomi Grossman, best known as Pepper from American Horror Story. You are listening to the Creepy Crap Podcast.
This is Alok Mishra from the movie 1BR. I produced the film along with a lot of other lovely people. You are listening to the Creepy Crap Podcast. Don't stop listening or else.
Welcome everyone to the Creepy Crap Podcast, the YouTube component. And to celebrate our first guest episode, we're going to talk about the movie 1BR. Mind you, there will be some spoilers and swearing in this. On the Creepy Crap Podcast, Australia's favourite horror podcast, we've got two special guests. We've got the award-winning producer, Alok Mishra, and we've got the talented, the beautiful Naomi Grossman. So if you like this video, why don't you subscribe to the channel up the top there. So Alok and Naomi, welcome to the Creepy Crap Podcast. How you going?
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Thank you for this opportunity. This is so cool. Oh, it's amazing. And to see the movie, I feel like I'm like the exclusive people who got to see it like first in the country, I guess.
Well, yes, I mean, except for the guys at Monster Fest last year where we premiered. So, we did a couple screenings over there. So that was the place we actually premiered. But yeah, coming out this coming Monday. I don't know when it's going to air, but Monday, November 2nd it is.
This will come out on Sunday, so I'll make sure it's just before it so people get the hype and all the Australians are like, what?
Hopefully, there's a lot of I think there's a lot of journalists that are writing articles about it right now. We made some friends when we were out there last time, and I think some of them are going to redo their articles, and some of them are going to do interviews and different things like that.
Oh, were you at the Monster Fest last year?
I actually flew all the way there. I went from England, from London to Melbourne, which is pretty much like one of the worst flights you could take time wise, because you're like in the air like 30 hours or something, 30 something hours, I want to say.
Did you go from England to Australia?
Well, what I did is, I'll be honest, like I'm a bit of a miles horse, and I had a bunch of like airline miles, and I wasn't using anything to do like first class or anything like that. But then I saw that flight, and it was so dreadful. It was the only flight that I actually paid, used like my miles to do a business class ticket. And the only way I could do it was to fly in through Bali and have to lay over for a day and a half, just because that's the way it was. And then I got to Melbourne. So it was like a nice little breakup. I was like sitting in an infinity pool, nice. Bali. So that was awesome. But then I got to Melbourne and we had a great time there. And the audiences really enjoyed it. The only thing though is that our movie was called 1BR. And in Australia, they have no idea what that means. It's basically a real estate abbreviation for a one bedroom apartment. And the funny thing is we always assumed everyone knew what that meant, like in the English speaking world. But in England, they had no fucking idea. And then also in Australia, they had no idea. When people would ask us in the Q&A, well, what does the title mean? Like, okay, we clearly have no idea. So we actually ended up having to change the title of the movie to Apartment 1BR for both the UK and Australia. And everywhere else it's 1BR, except for Japan, where it is called what is it, Naomi? Can you remember?
Madhouse.
Madhouse. Mother house. But actually, that's
skip
not
the
true.
apartment part.
I just found out tonight. I didn't even realize this, but because they never tell us things. But we just launched in Germany as well, like October 15th, and so I don't even know what was going on. But there we're called The Apartment. Welcome to the Nightmare. I was like, okay.
Oh,
all right,
Germany's whole next level.
Yeah,
so no Irons.
I just know I've not been to Monster Fest, but I have been to Oz Comic Con in Sydney. No, it was in Melbourne. My bad.
Same thing,
which was fabulous. I mean, it was in this ginormous
like a function center or something.
Yes, thank you. I have been quarantined so long that I am literally started to lose speech, like big words that I don't use on a regular basis. I mean, Alok is like the only person I ever talked to. No, but yeah, it was like a giant convention center, and it was probably the fanciest, biggest, coolest convention center I've ever seen in my life in Melbourne. And that's, where this Oz was. It was fabulous. They basically like on our breaks, they would like give us like koalas to pet. And I was like, wait, am I getting gonorrhea? Like if I'm going to get gonorrhea, I want to get it like, it'd be a
The
little more
traditional
fun.
way.
Yeah. No, and truly, like they had massages for us on the breaks. They were like, "Oh, you've traveled so far, you must be exhausted." I'm like, "Yes." No, but anyway, sorry. I'm just
That's good.
anyway.
I like that. I'm pretty
I-
sure you could only get it from koala if you have sex with them, though. So I think you, hopefully,
really?
you should be safe.
Okay, then I'm safe. No, but Germany, I'm thrilled to hear this that 1BR is in Germany because oh my God, like they are whole next level horror fans. Like I'm telling you, like I have been, if I've been to one Comic-Con that was awesome in Australia, I've been to 5 in Germany. And let me tell you, when those people do cosplay, they don't just dress up as like the,
Here's a bit of face
hot,
paint.
yeah, no. These people, they're not like the Purge people or whatever, just like, or Jason or Freddy. These guys like dress up as the human centipede. Like, I'm like, it's like whole next level cosplay. And they commit. Like, they will wander around eating out of each other's you-know-whats for like the day in diapers.
That is
On their
amazing.
knees. I'm telling you.
I'm scared.
And what's the commitment? Just to the first movie, or they're doing like the second or the third one?
I mean, who can keep track? Anyway, I'm just saying this is great news, Alok. Like, this is great news.
Well, I mean,
You want your horror movie in Germany. You want your horror movie in Germany.
Well, listen, they were
We've
one
made
of the first
it.
people. Yeah, they were one of the first people who like wanted to buy the rights, for the world and whatever it was. So yeah, we're there, and we're going to announce it tomorrow. But let's think about Australia, our friends in Australia, because they're the ones that are going to be opening on Monday.
Yeah.
So what about this movie was it that drew you in the first place?
You want to go, Naomi?
I was gonna say, should I answer for Alok and Alok can answer for me, or we've done
You're
so
so
many
used to
of
this
these,
question.
we can literally like answer each other's. Maybe I should dress up as like an Indian one day and just do you, Alok.
Let's not go. Let's not be racist. It's not the
That's
time.
not what I'm suggesting.
I mean, I can just see you committing and just doing the brown face and like that's just. I mean, I don't care, but there's other people out there.
No. That's not where I was going.
I mean,
press is good press.
They got rid of Apu on The Simpsons. I can just tell you that's the country we live in now. So I wouldn't.
No. Listen, Alok, you first. Although, if you get tired or forget a part, I'll pipe in.
As Naomi Grossman, I will. As Naomi Grossman, so am I doing myself or am I doing you?
Do you, and then I'll do me.
All right. So my wife is went to high school with David Marmar, the writer director, his manager Allard Cantor, who has a partner Jared Murray, and they have a company called Epicenter. And so she went to high school with Allard, and he's like, let's have lunch. And we had one of those like douchebag lunches you have in LA where you just talk about yourselves and what projects you're working on. And at the end of the conversation, he said he's going to send me 2 scripts, which I never read. For 6 months, I didn't read these scripts because I'm a bastard. And really, to be honest, in fairness to myself, I was actually busy on another project and I was about to start something.
It's a power move.
Yeah, I mean, we'll get it right. That's what I was thinking. No, I wasn't thinking. I was just really I only have so many hours in the day. So that project fell through and I got freaked out and I just started reading 30 scripts in a month and just trying to find something. And I was really drawn to David Marmer's script, One Bedroom. And we set up a meeting. We, liked each other. We had the same sensibilities. He's a super sweet guy, great heart. And also super smart guy. He'll never, talk about it, but he went to Harvard and started a video game company right out of school, and then it got sold to Activision. So he's like, I made a little money. I'm gonna go back to school for directing at USC, and he,
too successful.
Yeah, I mean, he's like a smart guy, and so he'd only done shorts. He's the first time, writer director, and we were first time producers. My producing partner Jane Borster and myself have a company called Epicenter. I'm sorry, called Malevolent Film. Sorry, called Malevolent Film. I don't know what I'm deciding here. I haven't even drank 3 sips.
I mean, this is why I suggested to. I'm just kidding.
So you can tell my story. Anyway,
No.
so we have a company, and before we did this started producing films, we did market research for film. We tested movies for a living. So when you hear about test screenings and so forth, that's what we did. So we had an interesting, different kind of perspective than most producers, have going into the business and stuff. And so we had a missive that we wanted to make elevated horror movies. And so, we were first-time producers. He was a first-time director, writer. What could go wrong, really, at the end of the day?
Well, nothing. Didn't you get like best feature film? I'm so sorry.
We missed your line, Naomi.
I said it.
No, it broke up.
Oh, I said everything. It's a little late, but Alok says what could go wrong, and I said everything. I mean, Daniel's not wrong. We did win all kinds of. I mean, it all worked out in the end, but it was quite a
tumultuous journey,
yes,
as it were.
Indeed.
What's that tell you? So, but yeah, we had a lot of things that went wrong, but we can go into that as we go along. But that's how I came into the project. So that's the answer to your question. Naomi.
And Alok and I met like 20 years ago. He's a native Angelino. Unlike few people can boast that, really. But when he is high school friends with one of my best friends from college. And so when I moved out here after school, I was basically Sarah in the movie. Like, I didn't have any friends, and I was just like, looking for a one bedroom. And essentially, I mean, it's very relatable for people who've moved to LA. Like, we've all been there. But anyway, basically her friends became my friends. She introduced me to Alok, and little did I know I've been like networking with Hollywood all this time. So in the meantime, like, I've been through my own little career journey, and it just so happened that like horror was sort of horror's kind of Alok's love, and horror loves me, so it all kind of worked out. When he came to casting this movie, he obviously thought of me, since we have a relationship, and I was, of course, I read the script and loved it. This was probably like in like May. I mean, because just like Alok said, like
2017, man.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Oh, I was curious about that. I saw the elbow bump in one scene. I was like, oh, they called it.
That's funny. Yeah, this was 2.5 years ago now, but I remember reading the script and thinking, the bones were there, like the blueprint was super solid. I mean, just like Alok said, David's like really strong writer and just filmmaker in general. So the point is, I was on board. Then like cut to, I don't know, November, December of that year, Alok's like, hey, we got an audition for you. I'm like, audition? Like, I don't just get an offer? Like,
formality,
really?
Obviously.
Okay. Well,
Yeah,
it was, but I didn't know that. I just know I've been on, I got lines to memorize. And not only that, but I had to deliver them with Alok himself, which is easier said than done. Let me tell you, this is the man who, if you play Drunken Trivial Pursuit with him, like, I swear to God, you can know all the answers, but like, just the way he'll read the questions, like, you'll start to question yourself. You'll be like, did I hear that right? Like, that's his trick. And it's like when we were in this audition, he was like, how can I trick her? You know what I mean? I'm like, dude, we're not playing Trivial Pursuit. Like, like, help me out. Like,
I mean,
is it like pretend we're not friends for 5 minutes?
In my own defense, this is stuff that normal producers don't have to do. When you're an independent producer, you wear many hats. Let me just say that. And so I was, thrust into reading this stuff with her, and I didn't commit the lines to memory. I was just reading them. I thought I'm reading them okay, but apparently I was trying to fuck up Naomi Grossman's like chances in this movie. Apparently, which
no,
it was just to meet David. I want to think it was all. That's all it was. It was just to make sure that he thought you were good, and we were going to take you no matter what. Like, it was kind of the thing.
He's absolutely right, and it's so like, honestly, Alok did everything for this movie, like short of playing Janice. Like he literally, like he was doing everything from like, his mom was like cooking for the craft services one day. Like they brought in Indian food. Like there was like, at one point, well, Alok may tell the story, but at one point he literally like drove across town to go look for feminine energy drinks for one of the actresses that was lined up to work with us at the time.
There's gender
Which is
drinks
like
now.
Exactly.
It's just marketed pretty, and they have like fun names, like fun spiritual names or some shit.
Oh, okay.
But the point is, like, he's absolutely right. There would normally be some little like minion hired to like do this sort of BS.
Monkey work.
But Alok, it's low budget indie filmmaking. They gotta make it. They gotta do it however they can do it. So, and it's really lovely. I mean, let me tell you, for a good time, watch 1BR and drink every time you see Alok. I'm not even kidding. Like, but drink very conservatively. It's a long movie. It's not really. It's an hour. It's an hour and a half. It's a tight 90 minutes.
It's a quick movie as well. It's good. Good pace.
You're gonna see a lot of our producer. So.
Well,
I wish I knew what you looked like first.
Well, the truth of the matter is that they like we had all these extras that are our friends and family, and invariably those are the people that will like let you down, and they wouldn't show up or something, and they'd be like, "All right, you got to get back in there," and I'm like, "Fuck, I want to watch the fucking movie from Video Village and make sure everything's going all right. I don't feel like I'm gonna be. You need to get in the shot. Like, okay, fuck." And they'd be like, "Why are you wearing stuff with logos on it? Why do you do this every day?" I'm like, because I don't think I'm gonna be in a fucking movie. Like, so I keep talking pulled it. My producing partner Shane and I are actually movers number 1 and movers number 2, and you'll see us in the background just moving shit all the time. That's what we do. And then we have another producer, Allard, who was David's manager, aforementioned manager. He's also producing the film. He's just lurking around all the way. Like he's always around the corner, like lurking and stuff. And like so he's lurker number 1 is like his title or whatever. But you will invariably see like all of this. I mean, fucking David Marmer's parents are in the movie. His pregnant wife was in the movie, and then we had to go back and do reshoots, so we had to get like a fake pregnant stomach to be like we're in it all over. I mean, everyone's there. It's just
I wondered that with that. A lot of the people didn't look like. I wondered if you had just filmed like for the sake of like, can we film here and then you're allowed to be in it just for the sake of like being an extra or something like that? Can we film in your apartment? Because like some of them, apart from like the main cast, just like you said, just look like they just live there and they're just sort of coming out or like.
Well, we filmed in an actual functioning apartment, and the people that lived there were really nice, and some of them wanted to be in the movie. So there's like maybe 2 or 3 of them that are in the movies, and that's all on the outside stuff, right? All the inside stuff's actually a set.
Oh,
there was
really?
actually one set that just kept on redressing like every night. So everything you see that's an interior, like whether it's Miss Stanhope's apartment or whether it's Sarah's apartment or whether it's like the torture room thing and or all that's an interior. It's at a soundstage.
Yeah, it's always the same.
Yeah, we had a really great production designer, Ricardo Jatan, who just would just come in there and they have an army, not an army, but like 10 people staying up all night to just change shit. Like you come to set the next day, like, oh, it's different. Okay,
you would never guess that from watching it. You would just assume it was like sort of identical layout to the rooms or something. But yeah, you would.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was. Yeah.
You fooled us. Good work. Now, Naomi, can I ask you a quick question? What is it like being like probably, I don't know if it's still as recent, but one of the most clickbaitable pictures for years? It was always your photo going, see what the real, it was always the photo of like Pepper sort of thing. And then it was like, see the actress behind it and all that. Like, did you ever see those links? What was that like being, as obviously in the background of your photo there, but
yeah.
What was it like
she's
going
everywhere.
from that to being your real self?
Well, yeah, no, I mean, I never.
That was like 5 questions, sorry.
No, I was loving it. I mean, I was hoping that you might I'm just listening to your accent. I'm mesmerized. But no, I was hoping that you would be maybe even talk about like what is it like being like so attractive and playing such a unattractive character. That's what I
was
thought you were
going
going
to
to
say
say.
that.
That's
I
why
wasn't
I
sure
let you
on the
kept
line.
going. I was like, okay, we're getting there. No.
Stunning was always one of the words, I think.
I will say, like, I am not an actress that ever tried to be pretty. I mean, I'm not saying, listen, I mean, I obviously like, put on some lipstick
You
for
failed
you.
at that then.
I mean, that's really something in COVID times, like lipstick. Wow. Why are you getting crazy? No, but right. No, but I guess what I'm saying is I have always like embraced really, characters, I mean, there are actresses who literally just want to be pretty, and I'm not one of them. I want to play a character, and kind of being pretty. I mean, I'd much rather be pretty in real life and ugly on, you know what I
think
mean?
that's what it built up. At least it was always like, look how beautiful she is compared to this. I'm like, that's not a real person.
Right.
Well,
Anyway, I mean, it was lovely how it all came about, because like I said, I'd never been told I was so beautiful until I played the ugliest person on TV, but I'm not mad at it. Like, hey, that's a nice, happy coincidence.
Well,
Sorry, Alok, go ahead.
I was going to say two things. One, Naomi will not tell you this, but this is a fact. Like, she has been like the number one person, like most looked up person on IMDb, like in the world, like the number one, like twice. I mean, it's really because what you're talking about.
Wow.
Like, nobody can believe that like she looks this good looking compared to like being Pepper, right? So everyone always like whenever that that she's on a season, she's like the number one looked up person in the world. I've seen like the little plaque in her house.
I've definitely done
that. so there's that. That was one fact. Second fact is that we shot for 15 days initially, right? And then we had to come back and do some reshoots because we weren't satisfied with certain things going on. Now there it is right there. Boom. Look at that.
Boom.
Believe
it's
it.
It's the IMDb Star Meter Award Top 10 Star of 2014.
Wow.
So
that's so cool.
So there's that. But then when we did the reshoots, we had 4 days of reshoots, and we, it was hard getting like the band back together, so to speak, because all our actors are fantastically working and everything. And the only time we could get everybody back together was like September. So we shot 2017 December, right? And then we shot the reshoots September of 2018, right?
Oh, okay.
And the only week we could get together with everybody was the week of the Emmys. And it just so happened that Naomi Grossman had been nominated for an Emmy. How often does this happen in your life, right? But despite that, she still came back and did the movie. Well, it was the thing where we were just like, Naomi, we squandered you. We needed to have, this movie should have been called The Janice Chronicles. I don't even know why we dealt with the Sarah girl, but really, this is what it was. And she's like, well, God damn it, Mishra, I'll come back for your little movie. I won't go to that gifting suite and get a free trip to Barbados. I will come back and work for so little money it's beneath me.
I'm here, darlings.
That's right. And no, but to be honest, she did it. She did it, and she was a champ, and she was really sweet to do it. And so that's what I'm going to tell. That's what I'm going to tell you about Naomi Grossman. She has character. She is a character, but she has character. And she came back and did our little movie and helped us out in the biggest way. And just being in the movie helped us out, to be honest, because I mean, we weren't paying her much compared to what she deserves, for sure. And she did it as a favor. And thankfully, I think all the pieces came together and it was actually successful. And she said this many times before, that, we had a good blueprint. Her dad's an architect. And if you have a good blueprint and you can have a possibility of building a good house, it depends on the execution, right? Like anything else. But that's what I will tell you about Naomi Grossman. Super popular and also super humble, and came back and did our movie, even though she was nominated for an Emmy and could have gone to like really fun fucking parties. But had to come back for like 3 of those days and nights to like be Janice again. Anyway,
you still squandered me. No, it's okay.
Well, I mean, hey, at least you're still alive. That's all I'm gonna say, right?
That's true. No, I knew we were working on something good. I knew that this wasn't some like director's reel or like shitty short film. Like this could be a thing, and I'm glad I had that foresight, because it was. So
I didn't even realize it was low budget or like an indie sort of thing. It doesn't come off that at all. You just kind of assume it's like a big one just in a smaller location or something? When you said that
No,
before, I was like, what?
we had a really
Could've
really
probably
great
looked it up.
cinematographer. I mean, everyone we kind of surrounded ourselves with was like a real pro. Like we were first time people, but like, you know, David Boland, who did the cinematography, was amazing and had just different great ideas. And him and David Marmer really meshed really well together. And you know, so the production design like looked very like, you didn't know that was the inside of a studio. You thought it was a house, you know, or apartment
Yeah.
rather. You know, and then we had other elements like the sound, which is so important in horror movies. And like my high school buddy / college roommate from USC, who like does the sound for like, you know, is it turns to the sound for like Alice in Wonderland and like 21 Jump Street, or, you know, all those kinds of movies, like did my movie for like no money. I mean, he's gonna get money eventually one day when we all get paid. But I mean, he did it for
No
nothing.
promises.
I mean, he snuck us onto the lot at Sony like on the weekends to like mix the thing and do different things. And you know,
Oh, wow.
I mean, it took us a long time to do post production, but when you don't have money and you're doing favors, it takes a lot of time. So we basically had finished doing the reshoots in September, and we literally didn't finish the movie until the July, when we were going to premiere at Fantasia Fest. But that's probably getting ahead of ourselves. Anyways, that I want to put that out there. Naomi Grossman's a great person. We had a lot of great people helping us out with making everything look good, and that's the reason
Yeah.
it looks as good as you think it.
Great behind the scenes knowledge. It's thank you. What was it like playing Janice, by the way? She was like kind of this like initially like sweet. She's the queen of the apartment, I guess, if that's the role or whatever you want to call it. But you're like this sweet lady for like 15, 20 minutes, and then it's suddenly like, hey, I'm in on it. And then you're like the evil. Is that a good word? How would you describe your character in that movie?
Well, I think of her as just sort of a kind of a rule abider. She's you know, David and I and the other actors for that matter talked about the fact that these people they don't think they're doing anything bad. Like they're actually like Janice is just trying to be a good mom. Like she's just trying to impart you know, discipline and various, you know, otherwise positive attributes to her daughter. And so you know, the four foundations or whatever, like they're not bad. It's and this is something we talk about, like that happens in cults often. You know what I mean? People drink the Kool-Aid because there's something they're getting out of it. You know what I mean? And I mean, even I wonder, like I am super into yoga, like will not miss a day. Like am I in a cult? Like I might be, because I love it. And like I will not miss it. And it's it's got to that, it's that level for me. And so I guess what I'm saying is yes, she is kind of I played her kind of hard. But I see her as kind of a letter of the law lady. Which
and she was probably a victim as well at some point. Is that like she wasn't married to Jerry initially? Is that what we kind of are meant to assume? She's just, hey, here's the wife for you. And you'll possibly first or after.
We don't know. We haven't seen that. Maybe we need to see that in a prequel. I mean, I'll watch.
I was curious about if
you would probably be in it. Like...
That's true. I'll do more than watch.
I'll come back as Sarah. Yeah. Was this, or I don't know if this is giving away or say nothing if not, but is this building up to a potential sequel? Like this is kind of, it hints or like finishes off with a whole, hey, it's not just this apartment, it's everywhere. Like she finally gets out and then it's like, woo, 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 all the alarms going off. You're like, no. Is it the whole town / world?
It definitely has the end or is it type of ending. I'll say that. I think the people want a sequel, and we have some really interesting ideas for one, but we can't say anything about it because we want to sort of J.J. Abrams the shit out of that. Like we don't want to tell you what. We're not going to tell you anything, and you're just going to have to. What's in the box? Can't tell you what's in the box. Want to see what's in the box? Gonna have to wait. So
what's in the box?
What's in the box? You know, but the point though is that we have something in the works, and you know, I think we're actually working with David on another movie that's not 1BR. I mean, well, for what we're doing, we have another movie that we're going to shoot hopefully in March. We're just trying to finish casting it right now and figure out where we're shooting it, because we don't know if we can shoot it in, the COVID ravaged United States, sadly. We might just go someplace else to shoot it. So that's one thing. Secondly, after that, we're going to do something with David again, which we can't talk about at all, but I can tell you it's even cooler than 1BR. I can tell you that. Ooh. And then hopefully after that's over, we come back and we shoot whatever it is, if there's a sequel, perhaps. So we'll see.
A lot of potential.
Yep, can go a lot of different ways, but again, it's just more fun. We don't tell you. You'll really enjoy it. And you'll see. I mean, did you watch the trailer before you actually got to watch the movie, or?
I didn't. I just jumped straight in.
It's funny.
I don't like looking up too much about movies, which is bad. And because sometimes you read and you get all this hype, and then you see it, you're like, oh, that's not what I pictured. So I went into this completely blind, and then I was shocked. I was like, whoa, so intense. And it has such a quick pace as well. It starts almost 15, 20 minutes in. It's not like a big build up of like, oh, they're bad and all this shit. It's basically like, she doesn't go to the one party, and then she wakes up to burning cat. And then it's just in turbo drive after that.
I mean, yeah, we had, our backgrounds, we tested movies, right? So we actually did, 5 groups of testing. We did 20, 25 people in a group that are friends of friends. And we had total of 5 groups. So we would show them the movie, get them filled a survey, and then they would, we do a focus group with them, actually. And that was very helpful in terms of understanding, okay, one, no one wanted to see any more of the cat. 75% of the audience didn't want to see any more, and 25% of it did. I was one of those 25%, let's say, for example, who really wanted to see it. But what we discovered was that the people who wanted to see it were hardcore horror fans. And this movie's not a hardcore horror movie. I mean, in fact, if anything, it sort of straddles a line of a couple different genres. But I would describe it really more as a psychological thriller with elements of horror, right?
Yeah.
There's certain times where we could have gone more torture porn with it, but we kind of pulled back when we got to a certain part. That whole cat thing, I really wanted to see that cat pop out of the oven and its eye pop and, do all this crazy shit. And the director really didn't want to see it. And other producers really didn't want to see it, to the point that I was like, God damn it, I'll put $5,000 down to get to do this. And then we found it from the test screens. No one wanted to see it. And I was like, all right.
You were willing to pay for the hot pussy. And even then, you didn't get it.
It wouldn't be the first time. I'm just saying. She always manages to stick in hot pussy somewhere in the interview. It happens, and there you are.
Oh, you get asked this every time.
you have been hot pussied. Boom. So the point of it is that the testing helped us understand 2 things. 1, the cat thing. 2, we weren't getting her into that room, that torture room, more quickly enough. Originally, our first act was close to 31 minutes, I want to say. And we just learned we need to get her in that room faster. So we need to cut shit out. And we just cut. And we even micro cut it within scenes, second here, 3 seconds here, 10 seconds there. We finally got it down to basically around the 21, 22 minute mark is when she gets sort of captured, right? And so I think people are shocked at how fast that comes, but they don't hate it. It was a perfect sort of balance of all right, wow, this is really something else other than what I thought to some extent, right?
It's refreshing sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, we have a couple different, David does a very good job of pivoting. So if you look at each of the acts in the movie, it's almost people have said they feel like almost 3 different movies to some extent that you kind of and if you don't watch a trailer, you don't know any of the shit that's going to happen. And I think we've heard from everyone who said we worked really hard on that trailer, by the way, because I also used to trailer test movies, and I was like, we put our poor distributor sales agent Dark Sky through the paces. They had to we went back and forth on this 20, 30 times. That poor trailer editor had to, we got his money worth out of him. It's funny though, we find that people really enjoy them if we don't watch anything at all about the trailer or anything. They don't see the trailer, they don't know, they're going cold. And I think that's the best way, and that's what I think I'd recommend to people, because I just heard that for so many people over social media and just in festivals and different things like this. Different people have come up to me and just told us listen, I didn't know anything about the movie, and I was just completely surprised. And so anyway, that's what I would impart to your listenership, that they should go in cold if they can.
Yeah. That's how I went about it. And there's nothing in the show at all. There's just a girl on the cover, and they just kind of the coloring kind of like makes you feel like, oh, maybe it's a ghostish sort of thing, and she's going to get there, and then it's, you know, she's in some other world. But yeah, the pace of it is good because it goes like you said, 20 minutes in, and then you're like, well, definitely, like, because then you're like, well, if the mystery of these guys are bad's already there, what is going to happen from here on? So it's good jumping in so quick, because you're like, there's way more to come now. And then, you know, it's like, now it's like, what is she going to go? Is she going to get kidnapped? And it was good.
Yeah.
You just had no idea what was going on.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Is the whole thing, did you get one of the, like, did any of you get a tattoo, the symbol or anything like that? Was there any sort of things you got to keep from the movie?
Well, I mean, I don't have any tattoos, to be honest. I don't, and I
Okay.
don't know if I don't know if that's going to be the tattoo I choose to get when I choose to get one. I will be
You don't want to
honest.
get branded?
I mean, it would be funny, but I mean, no one can see it too, so it's kind of a convenient, like, sort of tattoo to have. It's just for you to know, right? I guess.
I'm in the group.
You know, I got to keep this. I have a bunch of stuff in my garage still. I have a huge garage, and I kept a lot of, like, the, you know, the party, like, supplies and different things that they use throughout the movie. I have Miss Stanhope's couch in my house, in my my formal dining room area. People can sit on it and stuff. And not because I wanted it, frankly. They were just like, we gotta put it someplace. Like, I'm like, oh, really?
Yeah.
So I had the biggest garage at the time. I might have to, like, my wife might get, you know, mad one day and make me clean it out, and then I'll be like, maybe when the
You know
sequel
what, this
comes
will
out.
catch on eBay at some point.
Well, maybe when the sequel comes out, I'll be like, here's a keepsake from, like,
Yeah.
But, you know, the only thing we've done, and this is a little bit of a plug today, they just, we didn't, you know, people were asking us, are you going to make t-shirts or like some kind of tchotchke or whatever? Like, I want to collect
Right.
something. And I was like, the horror audience definitely likes to collect shit. I'll say that. But we just announced today that our composer, Ronan Landa, actually made 100, we paid for it, but we made 100 records, like albums.
Okay.
Out of the music from the thing, and he's making all this crazy stuff where it has like an OB, like some sort of sticker on it to give it really more value, and it's a collector's item. And then he's giving a digital copy to everyone too, in addition to the album, because there's not enough space on the album to get the whole thing in there. And like,
He's like, I'm gonna make my monies out of this.
he's signing them all too, but I think he's charging like $44 for it, which, I mean, we're not making any money off of this, but we only made 100 of them. And so if there's a sequel,
Limited
whatever
edition,
else,
people love that.
I mean, it really is. There's only 100, and there's, like, you know, errors on them, and so we can only tell that we can tell you what it is to see it's a first edition and stuff. So we built in little things like that. But we just announced today that today, and so that's going to be out there too. So that's maybe something we kept, or it's a keepsake of sorts that from the movie. I think most of us use most of our own clothes to some extent, didn't we, Naomi?
I was gonna say, this movie was such a low budget movie that I actually, a lot of Janice's clothes were my own. I mean, don't get me wrong, I have an insane closet, and most of them are costumes. So, you know, I kind of went for my most, like, dowdy looking kind of, you know, Karen of the HOA looking, you know, outfits. But which actually, I'll be honest, I think I've actually gotten rid of. Like, I think, you know, I like watched Marie Kondo one day, and it was like, not giving me joy. And I got rid of all that stuff. And, you know, and I remember thinking, oh my God, what if Alok calls me for like reshoots? And I'm like, it didn't give me joy, you know?
Was that cowboy outfit in the slapping scene, was that your thing?
Yes.
Do you still have that?
No, that's been long gone.
I thought that was like a funny outfit. I was like, where do we get this? And it was yours.
It's mine.
Did you have to cut your hair for that role, or was it just short at the time?
It was short. This is my COVID hair, but yeah, actually my hair even goes through a couple changes in the course of the movie. I don't know if you noticed, but you know, like we said, we shot this over Christmas of 2017, and then by the time we came back for those reshoots during the Emmys of 2018, I was working on American Horror Story for, you know, Apocalypse, and they actually like colored my hair dark and everything for that. So it was one of those things where, like, I think I see it, I'm kind of like, oh, my hair doesn't match, but, you know,
No
It's
one
one of
else
those things that's
notices.
so
No one else
subtle.
notices.
I'm the only one that notices.
It goes
Yeah.
with the mystery as well. I didn't notice, to be honest, but it was like the mystery of like, how long has she been here? Because it knows like direct time. I don't think anyone comes in, it's been 2 days. You should be on our side already. So
Mm.
kind of works with the storyline, I guess.
Well, the one thing that's sort of a little secret you can tell how much time has passed is like when they have the security cam footage, different times or whatever. There's dates and there's times there, and you can see maybe how much time has passed and stuff.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah,
Didn't think to just do that.
Easter egg.
Cool.
You can see, was the camera in the room? Is that one of this that in the last scene would be like, I know you can't mention it, but if there was potential, that would be the see who's watching them sort of thing. Is that something that was we'll just chuck this scene in here to build up potential later on?
I mean, yeah. I mean, there's some breadcrumbs that are left, throughout the thing. Actually, if you go back and look, there's some other stuff too, which I won't tell you, but you can, you'll find maybe one day we'll have an article or something that'll tell you all the, the different things that are sort of like things there. But we like people
revealed.
we like people like watching it multiple times to try to figure it out, because there's sort of an enjoyment to that too. I mean, like, listen, I know the story is a very, like, once it's revealed, it seems like, okay, now I know the secret, right? But like, if you watch it, multiple times, it's actually very rewarding. I will tell you that. Like, people have said it's one of their favorite movies of the year, which we're just bowled over by, to be honest. I mean,
They haven't been to
that's
the movie
feature film.
theater.
Yeah, that's right. Like, they haven't been releasing a lot of really big movies, but the ones they have are fucking dogs, like dog shit. I mean, really, I'm not paying
by default.
I'm not paying $30 for Annabellum. It's like, or like Mulan. I mean, the only movie I would have paid $30 for, and even I didn't even, because I was just like, it's a little too much money, is the Bill and Ted's movie. I really wanted to see that, but I was like, you know what? I want to wait till it gets cheaper.
Yeah, Milan's got to be on the Disney app anyway in like a month or something, probably for free anyway, unless they're like,
December. I can wait till. Yeah, you'll put it on there. It's like.
Oh no, sorry, I was done. And Naomi, what is it about horror movies that you love? Sorry, I'm so sorry. Like.
No, well,
I noticed you got quite a few. I haven't seen them though. Just to.
Oh yeah, well, no, the thing that I probably love about them the most is that they love me. That's all it takes. Like, I mean, come on, I'm an actor. Like, I just want to be like adored. And let's face it, like, the horror fans are a whole special breed. Like, I went to acting school. Like, most of my close friends are actors, and many of them are on all kinds of, big shows. And yet, the friends on the like procedural dramas or comedies, they don't have a room with like hundreds of their own image staring back at them. Like, they don't. It's crazy. Like, that is something truly that's very like unique to horror movies. And so yeah, it's honestly, I had no idea about this world. Like, it's so weird. Like, I was all of a sudden like going to these like horror conventions, and I was like thrust in the like epicenter, and yet I had no idea that this world even existed until I was like in the center of it. But I also I will say, I'm a character actress. I always sort of fancied myself like I always dreamt of being on Saturday Night Live, which I'm sure you must. Do you see there in Australia at all?
Oh yeah, we've got that. They used to give us like a watered down version that was missing like 20 minutes. So like it wasn't until I watched it full episodes, I'm like, wait, there's 2 songs? Like there's so much stuff I didn't sketches.
I never stay awake for the second song anyway. So I probably watched the Australian version just by default because it's on so late. No, but I always really dreamt of, that's what I always wanted to do, like sketch comedy, but like big, over the top characters. And I'll be honest, while horror was not ever something I, fancy doing necessarily, I will say horror and really broad comedy like that, they do tend to really sort of celebrate big characters, like, let's face it, like Freddy Krueger is is kind of an over the top character. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like he's like a man with like a burned face and like razor gloves. Like it's
Yeah,
kind
he's
of
like corny of like,
yeah, it's not naturalistic. This doesn't happen in life. Well, maybe 2020, but
he's a showman.
he really is. And but what I'm saying is like, Pepper, only because she was sort of my, breakout horror role, is like actually could totally work in a Saturday Night Live sketch. You know what I mean? When you think about it, she's like right up there with like a Toonsis the Cat or who knows, you name it, like she's a big crazy character. Now it's my job to understand the tone of the show I'm in. It's not Saturday Night Live. It's not SNL. It's AHS. And to
You could be the next Gilly.
Dial the knob, accordingly. But yeah, I think that's the
Pepper,
thing that I
did you burn the house down? You're like, ugh.
No, but I think that's what I really love about horror. To answer your question, is that it's a place where I can really let my freak flag fly, unlike other genres where I don't know.
Can't be weird in a romantic comedy, I guess, or something like that.
To piggyback off what Naomi is saying, like, I mean, she was mentioning that like there's no other fans like this, and it's true. I mean, there's not 220 like romantic comedy conventions, right? But there are more than 220 true. Like horror conventions, and she gets invited to like all of them because they love her and they're lined up for her, and whatever else, and that's and David, he was a little freaked out to do a kind of a horror movie. It's more of a psychological thriller, but he was worried that the horror audiences would not accept it because our movie is not like a really hardcore horror movie. But that was not to be the case. I mean, they loved it. Like we had so many people that we signed autographs and are like, "You want our autographs? Like, why do you want our autographs?" Like,
cults are in.
No, but it was interesting. But the other part about this movie that was interesting is that it was really the little movie that could, in the way that it we had so many bad things that happened, but then we had like really bad luck, but then we'd have like good luck, right? Like this is like the dichotomy of this movie, bad and good happening all the time throughout the entire, not only production of it, but even the release of it was just nuts. And we couldn't have almost planned it better in a way. Like like I'll give you a couple.
Like if it came out and COVID wasn't around, it might have got slipped through the cracks or something. But now it's suddenly like everyone's like, I need something to watch, and like this movie's amazing, and they're on social media all day to talk about it.
Yeah, no, exactly. Like we were supposed to have like a premiere at the like ArcLight in Hollywood, which is the famous theater. It's the old Cinerama Dome, over there. And we were supposed to, have a red carpet and and we were supposed to have like a 15-20 city release, let's say. It was like April 24th when that was all supposed to happen, and it was right during COVID. Like, and we were just like, everything's canceled, all the theaters are shut down. Like, what are you going to do? So we premiered on VOD, and the good luck was that, like you said, people watched it quite a lot, and because people watched it so much, like Netflix came to us and we're like, hey, we want to put you on in like August, and we were like, okay, great. So we like did all the podcasts, did all the interviews, kept it sort of like in the, consciousness or the Google sphere, if you will, of the world. Like we were doing like, like 3 or 4 podcasts a week for like a couple months. Like we were doing these things. That's why we can, finish each other's sentences and so forth. Right.
Yeah. I was trying to ask too many generic questions.
Yeah, no, but it's okay. But when we got to Netflix, let's say this, if all our friends and friends and friends and friends and their friends, like, talked about this movie, we could maybe get at 100,000 people. Well, Netflix has 80 million subscribers, and those are the people that actually pay for it. It doesn't count the people that are, sharing their passwords, let's say, right? So it's probably double if you think about it to some extent, right? There's no way we can get at that many people. So what actually ended up happening is that we had enough stuff out there, enough kind of grassroots effort that we had done, that we were able to sort of hit traction when we got into Netflix, as there was enough people like, oh, I've heard of that movie, or there's a stickiness to the name, 1BR, and we debuted in the top 5 for Netflix, their top 10. They have a top 10 that you only see on your computer or on your mobile device. I don't know why it's not on my Apple TV for some reason, but it's just not there.
It's on our. We have a top 10 on the Australian one.
Do you have it on do you have like a set top, like a
Yeah, like
Roku?
if I watch it through the TV or the PlayStation, stuff like that, it comes up with the top 10 and all that sort of stuff.
It's funny, like they don't do that in the States, but they do have it on the mobile. They do have it on the computers for some reason. I don't know what they're thinking, but anyway, so
Kind of annoying to anyone with the movie there, wouldn't it? They'd be like, what the hell?
Well,
We're number one. Show everyone.
Well, the other thing we found out too is that they have a newsletter that goes out like every day, and it was in there. Like, so we're like, okay, at least some people know about it. But what we found was that we hit the top 5. We came out on a Sunday, the 23rd of August. We hit the top 5 on the Monday, and because it's not in real time, they just kind of like look at the whole day and said, okay, this is the top 10 today, right, for the day before, really, to some extent.
Congratulations,
and
by the way.
So we hit. Oh wait, so we hit the top 5, and then we were 4 and 4 and 2, and that was Thursday, and we're like, we might get to number 1. Like from all the movies they have in here. So we were like telling all our friends, like, put it on repeat. I don't care if you're fucking watching it or not. They just keep on hitting it, like, whatever. Which we found out later, they counted if you've watched 2 minutes, basically, is the idea. So they don't even, we could have just, whatever. But it was nice to know now, right? Like I had it running like all day long for 5 days in my house, driving myself crazy with it. Not that I've not seen it enough, right? But but Friday, it was the 28th. We hit number 1, and I know this because I check it every day at 4:30 in the morning, 4:30 a.m. in the morning. They would switch over the top 10 because I'm a little obsessive and stuff, and I happen to be in the bathroom on the toilet. Because it's 4:30 in the morning and I just woke up, and then I discovered we were number 1, and I screamed like a little schoolgirl, and my wife was like, "What's going on, honey?" And I'm like, "We're number 1. We're number 1." And so she's like, "Oh, you silly man, come back to bed." And I'm like, No. I have to crow about this. I'm not saying I do our social media.
Yelling it out the windows.
Well, right. Like, but I online though, right? Like I said, I'm not saying that I do our social media. Allegedly, there may be many people who do the social media. Let's just say, but no, it was like a real moment of like, we'd gone through all this shit to get to this place, and like we had our actors who were so helpful, like Naomi and like. Naomi above and beyond everybody, but our other actors like Taylor Nichols and everybody else who like could come on podcasts with us, would do interviews, would do whatever, and like really help this little film that really should have disappeared the first week it came out on VOD. Because there's just so much other stuff usually coming out, and you just get lost, right? But they helped us get to number 1, and not only got to number 1, but stay. Like we were in the top 5 for like 8-9 days. And we talked to the Netflix people, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, you guys are bleeding across all these different genres." Like, usually we look at one, but you guys are. If you look at the Netflix sort of like, they have like columns and stuff, right?
Yeah.
You'll find us like in 8 columns, like in the movie section. Like we're in 8 different columns, and then like if you look in the horror section, we're like in 7 different columns, and if you look in the thriller section, we're in like 7 different. I look every day still, so I know like fresh in my mind what these things are.
Roughly.
But and we've told you this sort of like story, but we haven't even told you like the horrible things that happened.
I was wondering if you meant like, everyone's going behind the scenes where it's like, on the set of The Exorcist, the person died, this happened.
Well, that's.
You want to talk about it, or is?
Oh, we can. I'm going to have Naomi Grossman tell this story because I think she's very good at doing this.
Where to begin with the casting? You have 3 stories to choose from.
I think you should tell them all and just tell them fast. I gotta turn the fan on. It's so hot in here. Sorry, one second. Go start the story.
Okay. Let's see. So yes, the casting was a real challenge. Obviously they had me, but basically they had another woman lined up to play Sarah, the lead role. And this was the same woman who was apparently quite the diva, had in her rider that she needed this feminine energy drink, which you recall Alok like drove across town to like find, because apparently like when they called the company, they could only get the truck in like by the 3 days late, and Alok's like he's thorough, he wants to make sure his star has her drink, which is amazing. I wouldn't do that. I'd be like, too bad. Here's some Red Bull.
Yeah.
Like,
Glass of
grow
water,
up hair,
maybe?
vag up, okay? No, but she anyway, while
It's not
they
the one
were,
who played Sarah now, right?
no, someone else.
Okay.
I don't even know who this person is. She's literally like
We
some
don't want to
actress.
say
We won't
there's
even,
a libel issues. We'd rather not.
Oh,
say
yeah,
it,
yeah, no, that's cool.
I don't even know
Obviously,
to tell
obviously, she
you.
missed out. She missed out. You know.
Oh,
Yeah.
clearly.
Yeah.
But she had a decent Instagram, and sadly, that is what money grubbing producers like Alok are interested in. So there you go. So for any aspiring actors out there, you don't have to read or Chekhov and Ibsen. Apparently, you don't even have to go to school. You just need an Instagram. It's a sad state of affairs. Alas, I digress. Alok is at the Gelson's Marina Del Rey, begging the manager to please go in the back, just look for it. I really think you might have some. The manager goes off. While they're waiting for him, they get a phone call from this actress's agent. Apparently, she's out. No explanation. Not only is she out, but her friend, boyfriend, we don't know, but the guy that was lined up to play Brian is out as well. So it's like they've just lost 2 of their leads, and here comes back the manager with found a couple cases, and it looks like, we don't need it, and he like, just sort of like Norma Desmond's out. And, what does Alok do when he's in a really stressful situation? Like losing basically all the money that he just has allegedly mortgaged, has already paid for a house for. Drink. So basically, he and Shane Vornster, his producing partner, go to a bar to try to figure things out, and that's when they got a phone call from the actress that was lined up to play Susan Davis's role. The what's her name?
Miss Stanhope.
Miss Stanhope, the elderly lady. They get a call from her agent. Apparently, that actress's husband has been rushed to the hospital and is now dead. So she's out. So they have literally lost. This is on like a Monday. They're shooting we're shooting on Thursday, and they've just lost 3 of their leads. And
sucks.
I don't know why they didn't just offer me. I could have played all those roles. I'm a character actress. If we've established,
it'd be your real fit SNL.
Of course, exactly. But that was not on the table. Basically, they were able to push back the shooting to, I want to say, from Thursday to Monday of the next week. So that bought them like 4 days, 5 days, whatever. Still not much to do what they did. They ended up reaching out, obviously, to Sarah, Nicole Bryden Bloom, who played Sarah, who was actually David Marmer's first pick. Like we said, he's a very smart guy. He knows what's up. But of course, Alok is the money grubbing producer. And, he wanted those Instagram followers, In any case, it actually really ended up working out in every way. Not only because Nicole knocked it out of the park, but, and I mean, she came in with 3 hours to work with David, which is nothing to carry. I mean, she's in literally like every frame of this film, and she killed it. But it also really worked out because she's the only non-local. Like, she came in from New York to shoot this with us, and the rest of us, like, we live here. We're like, oh, where are you going tonight? What are you doing? And she's like, sitting in my Hilton hotel, or whatever. Like, she's sort of, she was definitely like fish out of water, kind of like the odd man out, which I think probably helped her ultimately as an actor.
Yeah, it sounds exactly like the character almost.
Yeah. The Brian character, they ended up, again, like Alok and Shane were like on the phone, like with like Gersh and like, Blumhouse and like all their friends in Hollywood and in horror, saying, stay open, please. We need you. They ended up finding Giles, who played Brian. He was en route from San Francisco, driving home apparently, and just pulled over the side of the road to, flip through the script on his phone, didn't read the script, of course. He just sort of scanned to make sure it wasn't like a porno, read his parts, because that's what we do. Like, you guys give us so much credit. You think we're like, really thinking thoughtfully about our roles. No, we're just like, okay, yeah, I'll do it. So yeah.
You'll do it if there's more porn or less?
Well, it depends on who you are.
How much are you paying?
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, Giles was in. That was fortuitous. And then the Susan Davis, again, Alok just got a hold of her reel, and at the end of it, there was a phone number that said, and he dialed it, and she answered, and of course he was like, oh, this is awkward, like, this is highly inappropriate, like, you know what, I'm just gonna pitch the movie, and I'm gonna pitch us. And he did, and she was, oh, well, I've never done a cult movie before, and that was, and boom,
you could have easily played her.
Exactly. Actually, my mom could have easily played her, which is
famous.
No, I'm not even kidding. My mom is like the only person on that set that did not actually wind up as an extra at some point in the movie. It just so happened that, again, because they shot when they shot, like Christmas, the Emmys, like, of course my mom's in town. Like, my mom never comes. Like, I have not seen my mother since December, but that's when my mom's visiting. And but of course they couldn't use her. I swear I'm actually busy.
I'll show you.
They couldn't use her because, she looked too much like Miss Stanhope. Like, she's like, this white-haired old lady, and it's like confusing. Like, oh wait, I thought we just killed the white-haired lady, and spoiler. But it like didn't make sense to have like another one running around. But so yes, we could have really taken care of all of your needs, Alok, but then we would have cheated you out of this amazing story. And scene.
That's true. So that was one of the disasters that befalled us. We also had fires right before. Like, if you go back and look at what they call the Mulholland fire, it happened Christmas of 2017, and it happened like the week before we were supposed to start, a week and a half before we were supposed to start shooting. And
smoky.
and what happened was that like the production office we were using, which was Epicenter's office, was on the other side of the freeway from the fire, and then the fire jumped over the freeway, and then we couldn't go to the office because they didn't know if it was burned down or not. And we kept on looking at Google Earth to see if we could see if it was burned down or not, and you couldn't, because it's just, the whole thing is just a white plume of smoke and fire and ash and whatever. And so we had to move everything to my house. But thankfully the office did not burn down, though it got very close, let's say that. So then the other disaster that befalled us was that day like 7 or 8. Befell.
Yeah, sorry. I'm a grammar Nazi. You wouldn't say befalled. I falled.
Right. Befell us. Now I've had about a beer and a half, so I feel like I'm okay. I have very strong beers I drink. I don't drink this like pussy shit. Hot pussy shit. No, I'm kidding. So
definitely not beer. Hot. Sorry, befell. The other drama that
disaster that befell us was that day 7 or 8, I got a text in the middle of the night, which I don't answer because I'm sleeping, because we're working like 18, 19-hour days. And it's that something really bad has happened, but I think it's going to be okay. And I was like, okay.
It's mysterious.
I get up in the morning and I'm like, what the fuck happened? Let's talk about it. And they're like, so in the middle of the night, we parked all our production trucks right next to our office, right? And there's like 3 trucks in a row. And it's on this, it's in a nicer part of town. Their offices are in what's considered Bel Air, which, it's supposed to be nice. And what happens is that in the middle of the night, like 2:30 in the morning, this white Escalade pulls up, and these like 3 guys get out. And they break into the first truck. Within 7 or 8 minutes, they are off and running away with the truck. Oh. What they don't know is that there's a parking PA, there's a person, an actual live person that's sitting in the middle truck watching this all happen. Right? And so this guy like gets in his car and then chases the truck, but like follows the truck. He's not chasing them, but he's following them. He's tailing them, if you will. He's a bit of an adrenaline junkie, I suppose, in this regard. And like this guy's he's on the, oh yeah, it was a hero. He's on the phone with the police. And he's talking to them, and they're like, "Sir, you need to stand down." And he's like, "I will not, I will not stand down. I will not stand down until you go behind this truck in pursuit of them yourselves." You know, and so they drive across, a couple different freeways, and there's a very iconic Felix the Cat sign that's really right next to USC. You might have seen it in different movies or whatever, and that's where it all goes down. Like that's when the helicopter light flashes down on the truck, and then 3 cop cars rush in, and this guy tries to gun it. Tries to get away, and he gets off the freeway, and he's trying to gun a truck, and you're not going to get away. Once the helicopter lights on you, you're pretty much done. That's just the rule of thumb. Any high-speed chase in Los Angeles, whether it's night or day or whatever, they're going to catch you. And so this guy gets pulled over and caught at this Chevron gas station / McDonald's. And here's the thing, like you always say, the police are so, the police brutality is out of control. We're so nice to this fucking guy. Can I tell you what? Like they pulled him out.
Where's that brutality when we want it?
Well, here's the thing. Here's the really crazy thing. This guy's a very handsome felon. He's very handsome. And Naomi will tell you, she's like,
leaving the doors unlocked every night.
mommy likey. But so what happens is that this guy gets pulled out. And by the way, this is all on television, by the way. At this point, it's on television.
Oh no.
Which is on the American Blu-ray, sadly not on the Australian DVD. I just found that out for sure. Unfortunately, it's not on there. But if you want to pay for it, you can get the one from Amazon or whatever, and have it shipped. It's going to cost you a little more, but it's worth it.
It's worth it. It's worth it.
Absolutely.
Ladies, gay men, it's worth it.
The handsome felon is handsome for a reason. Anyway, so this is we don't even tell our director about this. Like we just keep shut the fuck up about it, and we just like we try to solve this problem and get it solved, and we start an hour late. And he has no idea. We just like, all right, cool. I get extra time to do my notes and whatever and da-da-da.
Yeah.
And we don't tell him to the wrap party. Cool. And then we don't even tell the cast until we actually premiere at Fantasia Fest in Montreal. We're doing a Q&A, and then we're like, and the Q&A guy's like, oh, I think we have footage for this. And like they show the footage of the guy, getting arrested and getting pulled out of the thing. And then again, this is on the Blu-ray, but on the American Blu-ray. But so all this stuff happens, and like it turns out this is like a production truck stealing ring. And they were trying to drive this truck down to Tijuana and like sell all everything, and the guy is new to the ring. The handsome fellow is new to the ring, and he decides to turn state's evidence. And he's supposed to pay us restitution, but I've never seen it die, and I don't ever think we will. But we had a lot of plans for him. We're like
starring in the next movie.
He can work it off. Well, I had this fantasy where he's my monkey butler, and I just like, monkey butler, come, bring me my Fanta, or bring me whatever it is, and then. Naomi has a fantasy where maybe like if it's a sequel, she's without a husband now, and maybe it's Janice's sexual awakening, and this guy can play like one of her many conquests, or maybe really date her in real life. I don't know. I mean, I think that was talked about. We talked about
yeah.
I mean,
I just can't believe like we're friends, and yet you kept this from me until like May of the next year, like in Canada at our at the premiere. Like I'm like. All this time, I'm single. Like
But I mean, he's in jail. He's in jail though. I mean, he's in jail for all we know. Like,
so he's probably
you can wait.
Not gonna ghost me. Like, just kidding. No, I know where he is.
That's a great story.
Yeah, so that's one of the other disasters that befell us.
Did you from now on just put like a poster or whatever movie you're making on top of your trucks, and on the off chance they get stolen again, so when they're doing like the camera footage and all that sort of stuff, it's like free promotion? Well, or they blur it out?
Listen, I don't wish that on
marketing
anyone. Like, I mean, if you think about that for independent film, if we had lost our whole truck full of lights, like you'd lose a day at least, and you're on a 15-day shoot, like that would have just killed us. Like it could have been like, there are a lot of times where this production almost was dead in the water. I mean, we lost everybody on a Monday, on a Thursday we were supposed to shoot. That was fucking nuts. We were able to scramble and cast, and actually, upcast like everything. Got very lucky. Like I said, bad luck, good luck, right? Like, so that's sort of like the story of this production. And then, at the end of the day, like, we are very lucky. Like we are super lucky. Like a film of this size with no budget, it's a no budget film, should not have been the #1 film on Netflix. Forbes wrote an article on the Friday we hit #1. They were like, who the hell is this little movie that just took out Jamie Foxx's Project Power from the #1 spot? Had Project Power Project Power had been #1 for 13 days in a row. Had it been the 14th day, it would have set the record for the year. But we came up and we fucked up Jamie Foxx, and we sent him a little note on Twitter. We were like, "Hey, sorry, player, sorry to take you out like that, but like, you know, game recognizes game," and he never wrote us back.
Motherfucker.
But it was funny to like, you know,
You're better than Project Power.
I mean, some people think so, but that's like an $80 million movie. So, I mean, I didn't think actually Project Power was bad. I thought it was going to be bad, but it actually wasn't too bad. Like, I mean, it's a little, I'm sick of movies being set in New Orleans. I'll be honest. I really am. Because it's just wow. Like New Orleans is the whole country now, right? Like, I mean, I love New Orleans. I want to shoot a movie in New Orleans, but like, I feel like New Orleans is like always overused to some extent, you know? It's because they get a break on the budget, obviously, and stuff like that. But anyway.
Yeah, if they need stuff to be broken already, they're already like, sweet.
Yeah, sometimes, right?
Cashing in on everyone else's destruction.
They filmed the American Horror Story season 4 there, right?
I don't know why you hate on New Orleans. I mean, it is the most interesting place in this country. That's a good reason to shoot there. Other than the
bones off that town.
Obviously. Yeah, no, that place, it's the bomb. You've got like so many cool locations just right. I mean, the French Quarter is so interesting, and all those like graveyards and like, yeah, forget about tax breaks. But anyway, yeah.
I mean, it's a fun place to go out and party and do whatever else. But like, I just feel like it's been overused a bit. That's all I'm saying. I'm sorry. I don't want to shit on anything anyways. But I mean, listen. I mean, listen, anybody makes anything, you got to give them props, right? Like, I mean,
at least they tried.
Just the fact that we, finished this thing and we're able to be lucky enough to be successful. It was just, a lot of hard work, but it paid off, I think, and it's been, the funny thing is it's been popular all over the world. Like we just opened in Scandinavia a couple weeks ago, and we were like, top 5 on iTunes for like, 3 weeks, and then in like, Norway, Finland, Denmark, and forgetting once, Sweden. And
you get these delayed bursts because you're opening on countries like months apart. So it's like you said, like it's coming out in Australia in the 2nd, I think you said, or Monday. And then it's like Australia's suddenly like, hey, especially if they put it on the Netflix or whatever soon enough, that's a whole group of people, a whole country suddenly realizing this movie. Because to them, like when you see it, suddenly you don't know it's been around for a year or whatever else. It's like, brand new movie. Have you seen this one yet?
Well, yeah.
Everyone talking again.
It gets its own traction after a certain point. But I think the thing of it is that we were also very strategic about our, Rotten Tomatoes stuff. And usually Rotten Tomatoes doesn't matter for horror movies. It really doesn't. But ours is, again, not a horror movie. It's also a thriller. And I don't know how it works. I don't think your iTunes works the same as ours. But if you go to iTunes, for example, in the US, your Rotten Tomatoes score is right there next to it. So if people are like kind of discerning film, like, film goers, they're like, oh, wow, it's got an 88% Rotten Tomatoes. You can actually toggle it off and toggle it on. I've discovered actually, but if you have anything that's over certified fresh, which is like 70 or 75 or whatever it is, then you want it out there. You want to have people understanding that this is the thing. And so we
work against you.
Yeah, totally. Absolutely. If it was bad, I'd be like, don't. You can do different things to your own Rotten Tomatoes to make things be what they're not. Over there too, you have the power to control your own page apparently to some extent. But
there was a moment when Alok actually texted me and was like, "Hey, can you download the movie?" And something, I don't know what it was, but I was like,
every device.
Okay, yeah. He's like, it's just that we're like 87% on Rotten Tomatoes. If we get a few more people to, purchase, maybe we'll be 88. And I'm like, really? Like, are you really sending like individual texts? Like, he's like actually responding back and forth with me. And I'm like, who has time for that? He's going one at a time through his phone book.
Baby.
And like,
no. Well, actually, I was offered. Let's be honest here. This is what it was. Like, we were like I wanted to do as an experiment to see how you could manipulate iTunes. Could you manipulate iTunes? Say you were number 5, right? You're top 5 right now, and it's 11:30 on a like Wednesday night. if I get 20 friends to buy this thing right now, which I paid for, by the way, I could, Venmo people the money or whatever. Could you move up to the number one spot? That was the question I had in my head. I wanted to see was I willing to invest? Like, I mean, I think we were like $5 at the time or something, right? So am I willing to spend $150 to learn the answer to that question? Hell yes, I'm willing to spend $150. Let's see. But actually, truth be told, we were like number, I think, 8, and it moved us up to like number 5. Doing it a targeted buy, like, and because we got our friends to all do it, like at 11:30 at night on, and yeah. So anyway, it was an interesting experiment. And then of course I tell my friends to like, go give us a high score on IMDb, give us a high score on Rotten Tomatoes, because there's so many sons of bitches. Like the troll culture is just the shittiest thing now, right? Like our highest, like most helpful quote unquote review on like Amazon is some, and I'm going to call this woman a bitch because I think she's a bitch. She's like, I didn't even watch the movie. The fact that she has cat cruelty in the movie is enough for me to give you a 1. And 26 people have said this is a helpful thing. And meanwhile, the person who gave us a 4-star review, which was actually a very nice review, and a really well-written review, this movie is creepy as AF is what it says there. This person is like, is a 24 likes, right? So the shitty reviews are just winning the day, and this is the case with like
people want to be told they shouldn't watch it or something like that instead of being told. I don't want to be told to watch this.
We were like at 8 on IMDb, like when we first came out, and then the sewer people just got a hold of this. They were just like, "This movie's about communism." One, they're like such dicks, and you just read the comments and you're just like, who are these people?
They haven't even watched it.
I test movies for 18 years, and here's the thing: it's literally like the whole cat thing is I know it's a trigger, but like it's like you paid to watch a horror movie, right? It's like you paid to watch a boxing match, right? And you were getting pissed off because someone bloodied someone's nose. Oh, the blood! Like you paid. Did you not watch the trailer? Because the trailer, we do a good job of actually putting that in the trailer where there's something that happens to that cat. So if you have a problem with that, don't fucking watch the movie, right? Like that's
it's not like it's a real cat. Like, do people
this
really?
Is all pretend.
It's a movie.
And they were like the same thing, like you said, they get upset that something happens. It's like, but then they get upset if nothing happens. Like, it wasn't scary enough.
They're upset because a cat got killed, and they're not upset that we killed like 5 fucking people in the movie in violent ways, right? I mean, it's like, what's your fucking head? Where's your fucking head at? Like, it doesn't make sense. So we're living in a troll culture. So yes, as a producer, and every producer I would totally suggest this to, you got to get your friends to come in, like, and hopefully, up the positive stuff, because, you're going to get some people who just don't even watch the movie and just give you a 1 or a half. Or whatever, just to be dicks. Like,
they go out of their way to make an account just to make it bad, just to feel better. Like, that's how bad I felt about this. I didn't even watch it. But
when we test movies, the metrics are: would you score the movie excellent, very good, good, fair, poor, right? We scored from our limited, screenings that we did. We combined our data for 120 people, and we were basically a very good. We were never going to be excellent. We didn't have the budget to be an excellent movie, and then to do extensive things that we wanted to do to make it better. We had to cut things. If anything, David Warner's script was amazing, and we had to cut things for money, right? So we were a very good movie. That's all we were going to be. So that's about like a 80 to 85%, and we're at 86% on Rotten Tomatoes. So that's exactly where it should be. But you look at your score, this and that, like we're like go between 58 and 55 for the audience score on Rotten Tomatoes. We're at like 5.8 out of 10 for the IMDb's of the world. We're like around 3.5 out of 5 stars on most things, I would say, for like Amazon and like places you can buy it. I think we're 4 out of 5 for iTunes, and
it's almost like if you don't like it, just don't rate it. Stop ruining it. They don't do that with like ride sharing things in eBay. Everything about them is like 5 stars only. And then like, God forbid you gave 4. Why did you do this? But with movies, it seems like it's almost like the reverse. Like, well, I can't give it a 5. It's not Citizen Kane or some shit.
It's funny. I read this review today. It was an Australian review actually. And the guy gives it
you sandbagged me. No.
No. It's like a love letter review pretty much, right? But at the end of the day, he gives us like 5.8 out of 10. I was like, really? Like you gave it that good a review in terms of like all the words, and I was even gonna write like a nice because I always announce our positive reviews. I don't ever announce the shitty ones or whatever. But then it kind of gave me pause to say like, should I actually release? I'm gonna put it up actually, but like because it was a really nice review. But for some reason he was just like 5.8. I'm like, really? Yeah. Anyway.
Oh, I can't commit to a 10. I'm sorry. Like that's
yeah,
no,
I mean,
nothing's ever a 10.
I don't expect it, but I mean, listen, we're not. I know what we are. We're not like there's other people that are like, oh well, this Sarah girl, the girl that played Sarah really can't act at all, and I'm like, are you nuts? Like she has an amazing performance.
Feel bad for her like the entire movie. Nothing goes right for her. It starts bad, like she's got kind of shitty. The job sucks, and then she gets here, and you're like, oh, good, finally some hope. No, it's even worse. And then it's like she finally gets a redemption towards the end. You're like, I'm free. And then he's like, go. And then like you see the alarms go off, and you're like, oh, she's got no hope in this movie.
Well, we don't know if she got away or didn't, right? It's eye of the beholder.
You could keep running.
Who knows? Maybe she's a fast runner. I don't know.
Well, yeah, no one ran out of the houses, so I guess that there wasn't like the whole like suddenly there's 1,000 people and you're like, oh yeah, now you're dead.
Yeah, we didn't have enough extras. I didn't want to be in that scene too.
Just copy and paste the same person a ton of times.
Yeah, we have to Forrest Gump the shit out of like those crowds and stuff.
I don't know how long you guys have left, by the way. Can I just make like one question and a statement to Naomi? I think you're the most iconic person from the entire franchise of the Horror Story. Do you agree at all?
Your accent. I'm telling you, you can say anything, but the fact that you're complimenting me and it's like, it's a lot. It's a lot for me. Thank you.
I have a question. Are you single?
I'm sadly not, but
I'm
like if we talk, I'll start moving.
Oh, your poor girlfriend. I'm kidding. Anyway, so Naomi, how are we doing for time? Are you okay to go?
I'm fine. Yeah.
Okay.
No.
All right.
I'm good.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I don't know. Was there a question? It just seemed like a nice thing.
Oh yeah, no, I was just saying, like, how do you feel? Like, have you found that a lot of other people? I didn't ask that actually, but do you find that a lot of other people feel that as well? Like, out of all the same, because you have a kind of a recurring character as well. You've got like, like people, they're actresses. Like you got Sarah or whoever like that. You're like, oh yeah, like they're recognizable. But I feel like your character just stands out so much. Like if anyone's going to be like, here's 10 characters. Pick one that you remember the most. It would always be yours, I reckon.
Aw, that's so nice. Yeah.
Are you a fan favorite for people?
Oh, definitely. Yeah. I mean, I don't mean it sounds gross coming from me, but that was, yeah. I think that's fair to say.
I mean, look at that room she's in, right? All those people made that art for her to.
Oh wow!
They like
here. Yeah, I mean, we could. Let's see. I mean, there's.
I wonder if there were dolls for you.
Yeah. Here's my Pepper Pop figure, and I mean, I've got.
People make shit for her.
Ooh,
like they literally like. They give her when she does appearances, let's say, right? And I would love to go on one of these, Naomi, one day. I swear to God, I really would like to. Just see it, but they line up and like, I mean, she has entire auditoriums that come hear her talk, and then they just give her this stuff like, hey, I wanted to give this to you because your character is so vulnerable, and I feel vulnerable, and I identify with your character, and I think that's one of the big things about that.
Make me feel pretty.
Yeah, no, but I'm saying there's something that poor character has been shit on, you know what I mean? As far as the actual Pepper character, people identify with it and they really just like feel a kinship to her. And then she is so sweet and turned to them. And they're like, I want to give you this picture I drew of you or painted of you or whatever. And then, she also always shows it on her social media and stuff. And she's like, she's a friend to the fans for sure. I could say just from seeing her stuff. I mean, on social media and stuff like that. So, but I don't think there's any other character on American Horror Story that gets the fan adoration that she does in the amounts that she does.
Yeah, that room answered that question completely. I thought, maybe that you've got a couple things there. That's pretty cool. I didn't realize the entire room.
No, the whole room. It's true though. I mean, I just think they're so. To me, I've actually had a suitor come into this room and say, Oh, God. Narcissist much? How many pictures of yourself do you need looking at you? And it's like, yeah, this isn't going to work. The way I see it, like, my art inspired others' art. And like, how amazing is that? Like, I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm a film buff and a theater lover, and I've been moved by a million performances, but never so much that I like sat down and like drew a picture and then like went out and like sought that person to like give it to them. I mean, that's really something. And you know, when I first got into this business, you know, I always kind of thought this was sort of a selfish pursuit. Like, you know, it's definitely like not being like a frontline worker or like a doctor, nurse, or, you know, firefighter, you know, and yet I do feel that like my art does it does do something for people, especially like nowadays, like people are looking to performers and dependent upon Netflix, you know, to get them through this difficult time. And so it's cool to me, the thing that, you know, I'm actually contributing. This is not just about me wanting to, you know, see myself on screen. It's actually like giving something to the audience that in turn, you know, gives something back to me. It's like a beautiful exchange. And yes, I love my fans. I remember like when I would post something, I have like my, you know, Facebook, like my friend page that I had long before Pepper. And then of course the fan page that I started just at the beginning of Pepper. I was like, I have a feeling this is going to be a thing. Yeah. So I just created this thing. I didn't ask anyone to like me. I just like left it there. And then bam, like, I don't know, 300,000 K fans, wow. Like over, like in, out of nowhere. I don't know where they came from. But I would post the same thing on my friend page and my fan page. And I mean, my friends, these are people that like actually knew me, that I like grew up with, you know, like have like, you know, held my hair when I needed to puke. They don't like my stuff. You know what I mean? Oh. Like, it's like the same stuff. I mean, of course, the page with the 300,000 fans is going to get some more likes than the one with the like $5,000 cap or whatever. But still, it's like hate is going to hate. My fans love me more than my jealous friends. It's sad but it's real. Yeah, it's true.
Have you had the opposite of you get the fan love and all that sort of stuff? Have you had anyone go too creepy with it? Or you've been pretty safe on that aspect? I'm not hoping you have. I just wondered.
No, I mean, not really. I think, you know, it's interesting. Like I've had like actual like fans become
creepy.
Yeah, no, but I've had like fans become friends, like legit. It's crazy. Like I never would have thought that, but you know, like I had a couple, this gay couple was having like a American Horror Story themed wedding, and I remember them asking me if I could officiate the wedding. Like they wanted to be married by Pepper, and I was going to be out of town at the time, so I was like, I passed. But then, as it turns out, my commitment fell through, and I was like, oh, actually, I am free. And they're like, oh, we already got we got a Madonna impersonator instead, but like, would you be our ring bearer? And I was like, yeah, why not? Like, we didn't know where to be. So sure enough, I'm the real Pepper. Ring. And to this day, like they're like my friends now. It's like who'd have thunk it, you know? It's kind of weird.
As you as well.
Well, I tell you, you know, it is interesting from being her friend and just, you know, going along with her on her adventures. Let's say, like, she's like, "Hey, you want to come to this like gay bar with me tonight to watch the episode of American Horror Story? Because these guys are gonna host us and they're gonna get us drunk and they're gonna do a horror puppet show afterwards." And I was like, "This sounds fascinating. I need to go see this." And I tell you, homegirl, like. The gay dudes love her. I mean, gay people in general love her. I think it's because, like, you know, Pepper is, you know, she is like persecuted and so forth. They feel persecuted. And so there's sort of a kinship there in that regard, let's say. But we went down to this like place and we went there a couple of times actually. We went actually with poor Meep.
Oh
He
yeah.
passed away. Like he was in Freak Show. He was a smaller gentleman who got like
Oh yeah.
hit by a car. It was just something terrible. But anyway, but we all went there and hung out. It was so much fun, and we got to see the love and see her getting loved, and it was really kind of cool. Like it was interesting to see like the real sort of fan adoration in real time. That's why I think I really want to go and see some like convention with you one day once we get out of this nonsense or whatever. But
yeah. No, it's true. Well, especially because living in LA, like we don't see that much here. You know what I mean? Like here, it's kind of like my Uber driver's more famous than you. You know what I mean? It's like there's always somebody famouser. You know what I mean? Like so. Whereas, sorry, low battery. When you go to Cincinnati or whatever, like they usually announce me coming, and it's a thing. So so
town meeting
moments like like you said at that gay bar, for example, are a little kind of a glimpse of what it's like when you like leave Los Angeles, and what it's like. It can be, not that there's any, Cincinnati and that gay bar have actually nothing in common, but I'm just saying like the fan reaction for sure.
Sure.
That's heaps good. I'm so happy.
Yeah.
I should have like done research. I just wanted to ask you directly when I realized I'm like, it's Pepper. Holy crap. I was like, yeah, out of all the characters, you're the one like, and you're consistent. You're in like loads of them. It's so good, but just crazy. It's so good. It's good to hear that, like that people love that character so much. I guess they would like, they kind of, but then some, one of the main ones, like, why do I have to feel bad for her? But does it take forever? Like, I know this is such like a question you get asked a billion times. Does it take forever to do that? Or did
the makeup? Yes. So this is like a 2.5 to 3 hour commitment. But
I can't even imagine that. I'm trying to like be like cover the hair. Or
I mean, the fact
at least they let
actually,
you talk after a while.
This is one of my ears that just happened to like come down when I brought the IMDb statue down. That was like one of the few things that I actually jacked from the set. I think this is pretty much all I've got. But I just spaced where we were. What? Oh, sorry.
Oh no, it was, just talking about like your character and how good it is on the show and all that sort of stuff. But
Oh, yes. Don't let me.
Did you guys want to talk about whatever you got coming up? Like,
the makeup.
Like I feel like
sorry.
if this is wrapping up, I didn't want to. Oh no, you remembered?
I just remembered you were talking about makeup, and I'll talk about makeup, and then we'll talk about what's coming up next. No, the makeup was it was like a good 2.5 to 3 hour affair. There was the prosthetic nose, brow, ears, teeth, a wonky eye. Of course, I had a fat suit, and they shaved my head, and had a little. Well, in the case of Asylum, they actually shaved everything except for the top. And I just wore a wig around. And then in the case of Freak Show, they actually shaved it all and actually gave me kind of like a little piece, like a little hair yarmulke. Mostly because I think my husband, the Salty character, was actually a bald dude with big ears, and so he like it was sort of unfair that I'd have to walk around with this like bonkers hairdo, and he just got to like live his life. So it was better, like especially in New Orleans, like it's hot AF there, especially like July, so I was just as well. Who needs hair? But yeah, the makeup was it was remarkable. They and that was just that was just my face. In the case of like the Freak Orgy, which was episode 1 of season 4, they actually gave me like a full like man chest. Like I literally, well, first I had to they made an impression of my chest, which they then created this man boobs on top of. But then from there, once it was made, then they had to like just like glue it to me, and then paint it. Oh, and but before that, they'd like sewn each hair into the nipple. I mean, it was really
Oh, wow.
it really involved, and the whole thing took about 6 hours to apply. And I'll never forget, like the producers. One of them saw me on set just wandering around with my like diaper and man boobs on, and he was like, somebody get Pepper a robe, like Pepper's walking around. And I was like, I'm wearing more here than I would wear to the beach. Like, I'm not, this is not what I look like naked. Like,
Thanks for not knowing the difference.
right, exactly. Like, you haven't been clicking on the clickbait. I'm actually a secret real life hottie.
Yeah.
But
The
no,
internet knows this fact.
But listen, as much as people say like, oh my God, I don't know how you do it. You sit there for 3 hours. I'm like, what job do you get to just show up at and like, I don't know, sit back, like put on a robe, like sit back, close your eyes, maybe go back to sleep. I know I did. And then 3 hours later, you're already like 3 hours into your shift. Like, that's an awesome job. Like,
Yeah, it
I
sounds
want
awesome.
that job. So when people are like, I could never, I'm like, pretty sure you could actually.
Yeah. Do you want to get paid to just sleep like you would normally?
Yeah, I couldn't do your job. I couldn't show up and have to be awake for the first 3 hours. Like, that is, how do you do that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway.
I don't know how you guys want to go back to your nights or whatever else. Do you want me to start wrapping it up? And I'll just ask
Did you want to talk about what you're doing next? Or are we good?
Yeah,
that's what I was just going to ask again.
For sure. So I've been working during quarantine on my next one-woman show, which is kind of a thing. I have a couple solo shows that I did prior to Pepper, actually one was called Girl in Argentine Landscape. It's like my coming of age story. And then the other is called Carnival Knowledge. And it's sort of my come of age once I've like moved to Los Angeles and looking for love in all the wrong places. And now this third, I'm going to take a cue from Alok and, JJ the shit out of it. Can't tell you what's in the box per se, but I'm very, very, very excited with it. I worried because the other two, even though, they were very successful as solo shows go. Like, let's face it, it's not like gonna be number one on, it's not like one BR, one on Netflix or anything, but, my shows went from everywhere from, Edinburgh in Scotland to the West End in London to off Broadway in New York. So like,
Wow.
I'm very proud of them. I was nominated for an LA Weekly Theater Award for one of them. So, the point is I'm very pleased with them. And so that's why I was nervous with this one coming up. I was like, I don't know, like those are pretty big shoes to fill. I don't want to disappoint, especially now that I have more people looking at me like, how's this gonna go? But the fact is, like, I have no doubt it's gonna be a thing, and I'm really excited. And especially now, my real hope, even before COVID, was that that I could, sell it to a streaming service and have it be like one of these 1 hour specials. And the fact is now we're not gathering in theaters anytime soon. Like, it's probably more likely for me to have that happen than the old fashioned way, so
it's like
that's
the best thing you could hope for.
Exciting. Yeah. I mean, it's again, one of those sorts of like lucky, it hasn't happened yet, so I need to stop talking about it, but it's
Fingers
one of
crossed
those
for you.
things for COVID that's like, well, you know what, this could be great. And yes, my money grubbing producer friend, he agrees, no doubt. Alok, what do you got next?
I think I went a little into it, didn't I? I said we're doing something with Marmer, and we're doing something with
right,
something shooting and whatever. So I think I'll take my time because I already did it before to just say, listen, if you like the movie, please tell your friends. I would tell you, the word of mouth for a little movie like this is so invaluable because when we test movies, for example, there's a question on the questionnaire that says like, how would you definitely recommend it to a friend? And if you definitely recommend it to a friend and you have a high one of those scores, it's a great thing. And our movie actually does have that, thankfully, because I think people, who watch it like it. There's very little rejection of it usually, unless you, fucking have a problem with roasting a cat, and because it's not real, by the way, people. Tell your friends.
I thought you were going to jump in with it.
Tell your friends, because the thing of it is that you telling your friends is better than any trailer we can cut. It is literally like that gives it so much more sort of credence and street cred or whatever. That's what street cred is what I'm trying to say. It gives it so much more of that than anything else we can do. Like you telling your friends. So if you
Word
love
of
it,
mouth is priceless.
please let your friends know. If you don't like it, then shut up.
Don't let them. Yeah, keep it to yourself.
So that's what I would tell you. And if you want to follow us on Twitter or some shit, like I'm an old person, but I'm trying to figure this stuff out. And like 1BR_film is our Twitter, and it's very 1BR film, and
If you don't follow, you'll kill them. Is that the
I mean,
the promotion thing this week?
I don't know who's controlling that account, but there's a lot of fun stuff where they they try to invite people to dinner parties and stuff, and a lot of times they're like,
who invites who to dinner parties? I don't understand.
So somebody on that account, whoever's controlling that account, often invites people on Twitter who say like, "Oh, this movie is crazy AF," and be like, "Oh, it's crazy AF. We're crazy AF. We're down the street from you. Why don't you come over for a dinner party?" Like stuff like that, because they're always trying to get poor Sarah to come over for a dinner party, and so there's that. But we have a lot of fun. I mean, we are a minion. Let's put it that way. We are Legion. We are Legion. We are Legion. Sorry, not minion. We are Legion. There's so many of us controlling that account. I don't know who's doing whatever, but sometimes we'd say a lot of funny stuff. So just go follow the account if you can. That's all I was gonna say. Boom, done. Naomi, anything from you?
No, I'm still trying to follow all that. I want to go to a dinner party. Do I need to follow you? I think I do follow you.
You do follow us, love.
Yeah.
I think the
It sounds like the dinner's a bad thing.
Yes, I think asking them to the dinner party is like we're gonna get you.
Oh, I get it.
If you show up, you're dead.
Hungry. I just haven't been to a dinner party in a really long time, and it
just want
sounds
food.
fun. And yes, I would like something other than like the Trader Joe's frozen whatever I've been eating for the last 9 months.
So sick of Trader Joe's. Can I tell you what? I'm so sick of Trader
So
Joe's.
sick of it.
Fucking only thing good about Trader Joe's is they have this delightful coffee and peanut butter cup porter.
Delicious.
$3.99, 9% alcohol. It will fuck you up, yeah.
Okay, guys, that's the end of the episode. There was no goodbyes. They got cut off a little bit, but trust us, we had a good conversation. It ended well and all that sort of stuff. But that was the first video episode of the Creepy Crap podcast. They will still be available on all the rest of it. They're on all the good podcast apps. Spotify, iTunes, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, all of those. Google, they're on all that sort of stuff. So you can find me on that and listen to the Creepy Crap podcast if you don't want to watch the YouTube. But you can get me on Instagram at the Creepy Crap Podcast, Twitter, Creepy Crap Pod, or I'm on Facebook and YouTube. So like and subscribe to this here channel. So that's where you can get the Creepy Crap Podcast, Australia's favourite horror podcast. My name's been Daniel Craig. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day, everyone, and what a great episode. I cannot believe I got to talk to them. Unbelievable. Thank you, and I'll catch you on the next one.